3 months. 3 months is all it takes to completely change your life. You have to understand that the world inherently is competitive. Now, you're going to see a lot of self-improvement people, spiritual people say, we're not in competition. No one's in competition for anything. I disagree with this so much, so hardly. I think you are in competition. You are constantly in competition for resources, for struggle, and most importantly, you're in competition with yourself. On a deeper level, you're in competition with yourself. So you have two versions of yourself. You have one version who doesn't sacrifice the summer. He does normally what you would do this summer. Then you have another version of yourself. This version of yourself sacrificed this summer. This version of you sacrificed that 75 days. This version of you is the true version of you. This version of you is the greatest version of you possible, which is actually truly you. In order to achieve greatness, there has to be some sort of sacrifice. You have to give in order to get. The law of thermodynamics states that matter cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be transmuted. So you have to give something in order to get something back. You have to take the energy of your old self, of your old life. You have to take the energy of the bad habits, and you have to sacrifice them. You have to transmute them in order to create a new life, a new paradigm. Because what we're talking about here is reality shifting. Shifting into a new reality, a reality that creates a better, truer, more authentic version of you. See, the ripple in people's minds is that, oh, my bad habits, that is truly me. But it's not. The truest version of you is actually the greatest version of you. That is actually truly who you are meant to be. Day to day, moment to moment, you have to ask yourself, what would the best version of me do? What would the greatest version of me do? When it comes to the competitive aspect of this, you have to understand that most people won't dare sacrifice their summers. Most people won't even sacrifice their weekend, let alone the summer, especially if you're in school right now. You're in school, you've been grinding for school, then you finally get out, you finally get those 2 months or 3 months or something like that. You finally get that and you're like, damn, now I have to sacrifice this as well. I've already been grinding for school, now I gotta sacrifice this. Well, that's what everyone's thinking. That's what everyone's thinking. I mean, actually, most people aren't even thinking about it. They're just like, oh, I'm just gonna have fun. I'm just gonna party. I'm just gonna waste my time. This is something that people realize when they get older, but it's something you can realize now, is that it's not about the fun times. It's not about the parties. It's not about the weekends and the drinking and the clubbing and all that stuff. What I see a lot of older people realize is that it's about the impact you have on this earth while you're alive. Now, if you're watching this, you're probably young, right? 30, 20, maybe even younger than that. in your teens. But there's a saying, youth is wasted on the young. And if we can have the mindset of an older person now, we can create a huge impact on this world. We can create the impact that lasts for generations. Because you come to realize that maybe I should sacrifice the partying, the bad habits. You probably have friends like, oh, you know, we gotta do this. We gotta go to this party. We gotta go to this club. We gotta go to this. We gotta go to this. We gotta go to this. And when you're in the summer too, you're gonna have moments of this. But go monk mode. Go completely monk mode. I don't cut off everybody and just be lonely and all that stuff. I'm not saying that. You can have moments of that, but keep the goal in mind. Keep the training plan in mind that this is the goal that I want to reach, and I will reach this, especially during the summer where you have the most amount of time. You have so much time when you're young. You have so much time. But what do 90% of people do? They don't care. They don't cultivate a talent. They don't cultivate a skill. They waste it. Completely waste it. Why? Over summers, over weekends, over, oh, it's spring break, oh, it's winter break. And then by the time they're 35, 40, they have way less time because they have certain obligations, family, work, job. As you get older, you have more and more obligations. When you're younger, you have no obligations or very few, but you waste the time that you do have on BS that you probably won't even remember, right? Take your time to have a goal, even if the goal is crazy, even if the goal seems high in the sky, something that you will never reach. Take your time to have a goal. And once you zero in on that goal, understand what you must sacrifice for that goal. It may be parties, it may even be friends at times. But the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. And if you can give a little bit of this time that you have right now, this finite time that you have in your youth, to create the life that is truly meant for you, that God wants to give you, that your higher self is resonating on right now, that is what's going to make you more happy, more fulfilled than these short dopamine-inducing practices that society wants to drag us into, because most people don't know their purpose. And they want you to not know your purpose. They want you to be confused. They want you to have a whole summer, have I still don't know what time length it is, but it's like 2 months, 3 months. They want you to waste it all, so you can get back in, go back to school, join the rat race like the rest of them. I'm not saying having a career or a job is a bad thing, but don't you want to be the top person in that career or job? Don't you want to be the top 10, 20% of earners? What do you think those top 20% of earners do? Do you think they study throughout school and then stop during the summer? Do you think any great NBA player played basketball throughout the entire season and then once the season ended, stopped playing basketball? Any great bodybuilder, there's something that C-Bum said. He said he doesn't have a prep. He doesn't have a cheat meal. Every single day is prep until the Olympia. Same for basketball players. Every single day is training. Even the rest days are training. You're watching film, you're doing something until the playoffs. It's the people who sit back, take a rest, take a break. At least the long-winded one, like 3 months, those are the people who end up mediocre. Some people say it's talent, genetics, oh, it's this reason why this person's great. It's this reason why this person's great. Man, sometimes it's just the reps. Sometimes it's just the reps. When I see YouTube channels doing better than me, I'm like, dang, why are they doing better than me? Sometimes they just have more videos. Sometimes they had another YouTube channel. Sometimes they have less videos, but then they had another YouTube channel that they started back when they were like 11. So they're a little bit better than speaking on camera. They're a little bit better at scripting. They're a little bit better at camera. They got a little bit better equipment. Sometimes it's just reps, man. That's what we don't like to give it to. We always like to put the reason why someone's better than us, the reason why someone's better in a certain field is because, oh, their parents were rich, or they had better equipment, or this happened. And it's always like some God-given thing. It's always some, oh, the universe just worked out for them. They were just lucky. You hear that a lot. They were just lucky. Sometimes it's just reps. Sometimes it's just putting in the work. A lot of people say I have good genetics, but if you saw me, I was super skinny. I was an ectomorph. I was, skinny as hell. Sometimes maybe I just put in more work. Maybe you could just put in more work. Try working really hard. Try putting in more work. Try not taking all those rest days. Try sacrificing that summer. Try giving it your best. Because if you give it your best, if you give it your all, and you still fail, which is incredibly rare, at least you can sit back and say, I gave it my